Hi and welcome to another Making Sense of It with me, Emma Kenny.
And me, Pete Smith.
Nice to see you all again. It's been wedding mania.
It has been wedding mania.
Mania. It's
Yeah.
gone mental.
Yeah.
Everybody was in the wedding dresses over the weekend. For those of you who might not know, because you've been living in a cave for the last year, Meghan Markle married Prince Harry this weekend, and people all over the country, in fact all over the world, because of course America's fully involved now because they've got an American in the monarchy.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, has it ever happened before? I don't think it has it?
In the UK,
Like an American in the monarchy. Is there any Americans in
Grace
the monarchy?
Kelly, was she British? She was British No, she was American, wasn't she?
Was she queen?
She managed to get over, didn't she, to Monaco. Ended badly, not going to lie. Ended
Did
with
it?
a serious car crash and death.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't good for good old Grace. She was very beautiful.
Who did she marry?
She married
King George V
Prince
of Monaco.
at the time, but she would never be queen because she died.
Yeah.
There
So
are
they're
some-
related to ours.
I've no idea when. Sorry, if you've been married to me for quite a long time and you're sitting here now expecting that somehow in the time between last week and this week and knowing that I've learnt loads about royals,
I thought we were talking about the UK royals, not the
I don't ever think about them.
the the Ethiopian prince of.
I know I've got a silver spoon from the Queen's Jubilee at 25 Jubilee, the 25th Jubilee. I've got a silver spoon in a plastic case at my mum and dad's. I loved it very much.
I have her breath on me.
Yes, for anybody who doesn't know, Pete won a Sheriff's Award, which sounds very posh. He won a Sheriff's Award and he actually went to Buckingham Palace. He was late and they had to let him in the wrong entry
Yes.
where all the tourists could see him. So probably some Japanese people have got pictures of Pete in his morning suit running across there to get entry.
They actually thought, this is how bizarre it was, we've got there late, and they let us in the actual front gates
In the
of
front
the Buckingham
gate.
Palace, and they were just like, we can't, we just have to let you in here. And it was like, so I had this full morning suit, full top hat and tails, the full works, and it was like, yeah, you have to come in here. So what? And all these people were like, oh, taking the photos and like, hey, and like, loads of Japanese tourists. I needed a Japanese tourist impression, which has been completely inappropriate. But yeah, that sort of typical stereotypical Japanese tourist. Loads of them thought I was a celebrity or something.
I know, and you weren't.
No, I wasn't. I was just a humble little old.
Humble winner of a Sheriff's Award
yeah.
for the duties and good tasks to society.
It's funny though, because they actually came round and delivered it on a horseback in a suit of armour and a big feather.
That's not true.
I know it's not true.
You're such a liar.
I know.
I actually wish that was true. That would make it so much more fun.
That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
You had cucumber sandwiches on the lawn.
I know. I almost picked up some corgi poo to sell on eBay. But I must admit, you're walking around, as you've done all the sort of duties and stuff, you're walking around and there's snipers everywhere, there's cameras that come up from the ground, there's all sorts of weird and wonderful, So
What's great is you could be making all of this up and none of us would know because
I
we've
know,
never
yeah.
got there.
I know, yeah. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Just written your own certificate.
Yeah.
Peter Smith, Sheriff's Award, good duties to humanity.
Just go and took photos, got four people to take photos of me outside Buckingham Palace.
In full morning suit.
Yeah. Hello, what?
I feel like I've met her now though because I'm married to you. So basically we're the same person. So I can say I've been, and I can't really say I've been, but I can
It's
imagine.
funny because when
I've
they
been.
meet people, then they go outside and they walk through the garden, and there's about 100 of them, and they're all like, quite a few of them are like sort of like distant, sort of, but they all look like they're melting, like the Queen and stuff. They're like sort of like top of the pile, aren't they? Like number one, number two, all the way down to like whatever. But then there's these distant, cousins once removed and stuff, and they're all like.
I say that they've got the jowl thing going on.
Yeah, they're all like.
Yeah. I once went into debate at Cambridge Union and it was very nice, but I looked to the left, looked to the right, and you could tell the commoners from the wealthy because the wealthy ones already at 20 had like little jowls and like that, And so when they talked, it was like
that bullshit kind of.
or they'd mumble.
That poor.
Yeah. It was like they were like a very posh version of Michael McIntyre.
Can you do any royal impressions?
No, I don't even know how they speak. Oh,
Is that?
one of our listeners actually suggested that we should start drinking shots every time you do an impression. So That would be a good
start
game.
drinking shots.
Every time you do an impression.
Yeah, the dogs are joining in here at the moment, if you can hear again.
I think that they can hear, and if they can't hear, see, that's an interesting thing that you've just said, because if they can't hear, you don't need to say it, and if they can hear dogs.
Yeah, but there might be the Yanni or Laurel thing. You know,
No.
what can you hear? Yanni. I mean, I can hear
Laurel.
Yanni.
Laurel.
Yanni.
Laurel.
I like the one where you look at it and it
Laurel.
goes, what can you hear? And it comes
Laurel.
on and it goes, dickhead. What can you hear? Dickhead. Oh, I can hear Laurel. I can't. I can hear dickhead. Yeah. Only dickheads hear Laurel. Yeah.
Anyway, it's been Wedding Mania.
Yeah.
Celebrities around the country have been wearing their wedding dresses. I can't find
Yeah.
mine.
The wedding dresses and the tobacco stained one.
Yeah, that's it. When I met Pete, obviously it was our second marriage for both of us, but I showed him my original wedding dress and he just wearing white nicotine stained. It was a gold theme.
It's like someone had been sat there blowing cigars. Not cigarette smoke, woodbine smoke.
Have you seen pictures of me getting married?
Yes.
I looked great.
You did look
apart
great.
from the massive tan line because I couldn't have a fake
and
tan.
obviously the person next to you.
Don't. I get on very well with my ex-husband.
I know.
And we were averagely happy for a while.
Thank God we don't get on well with my ex-wife. Well,
I
it's not
don't
wrong.
know your
We don't know her,
ex-wife. I might have
do we?
got on really
I don't
well
even
with
know
her.
her. I never knew her.
I get on.
Weird, wasn't it?
I get on with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I often get on with people that people say I shouldn't get on with. People say I won't like them, and then I like them.
Yeah.
Even when they're not very nice to other people, I still think you're all right, you're okay to me.
Yeah.
Got to think about that. I was actually sat here yesterday in the kitchen at some point, and I was thinking about conflict, because obviously I teach quite a lot about conflict. And I was thinking, like, since I've been a kid, I've really not had very much conflict in my life. Like, I was trying to example scenarios, where people had real problems with you. And it's never really happened. I mean, obviously, there's the group of clinical psychologists who want to have me burned at the stake because I'm not chartered. They obviously don't like me, but they don't know me. If they knew me, I think I'd get on with them all. I think they'd just go, oh, we won't burn her at the stake. We just won't invite her to the barbecues. That's
Yeah,
all.
that
But
was only just-
we'll
it
call
was,
her secretly and be mates with her. That's the kind of thing. But I was thinking conflict. I was thinking I'm just not one of those people who really has conflict. And I think part of it is I'm bad at it. I just don't like it. It makes me feel a bit sick, so I don't do it.
I've
You
never
know?
really wanted it, but I've always seemed to have quite a bit of it.
You've not had conflict since we've been together, really.
Not when we've been. No,
You had a bit with me,
Yeah.
but only a bit.
Oh, yeah. Everybody has a little bit of conflict.
Cat on one hand, really. Bad times with us, as far as big arguments.
Yeah. Sort of. I don't know if it was just the area where you lived and stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
And the scenarios you put yourself in.
Yeah, it's
think.
funny, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
But I just really can't look back. The worst conflict I've had is like with my family.
Yeah. I mean, I
who
don't have any conflict
love.
now. I mean, I have literally, when you go through life and you always think to yourself, God, there is probably somebody out there that hates me or doesn't like me or something, Or I don't like them, I don't think anybody at the moment really that
No.
I've sort of not
Annoyed
burnt any
enough.
bridges and
No.
sort of
You had a bit of an
realised-
incident with the tree surgeon. We'll catch you up with, guys, if you were listening to yesterday's. I mean, if you've been listening yesterday's, listen to last week's. We'll keep you informed of that.
Yeah.
All peaceful in the neighbourhood now, just want to say. Give a bit of a disclaimer. Everyone's happy. Everything's fine. Trees are safe. That's all I'm saying. I'll let Pete talk about it in a little bit. But no, I was sitting there, I was thinking the only time I've really been affected by conflict is in my family. So when me and my brother have had an argument, which is very rare, like it cripples me because
Yeah,
I'm
it does,
like,
it does.
I can't bear the idea that me and my brother aren't friends. Me and my sister just don't argue anymore because I learned I'll never win. So it's far better not to. And actually, very rarely is there anything that we disagree with anyway. I don't think there is. But
No.
if we were to, I'd just agree with her because that's better. And I think that she would be the first to admit that. And we often say, don't we, that in our families, Alexia, my sister, who's a teacher, and she's bloody good teacher. Your kid would be lucky to get my sister. She's one of the most passionate teachers. It's ruined her. It's ruined her life teaching. Absolutely ruined her life because it's such hard work and she only does it part-time, but she still runs all the A-level groups and things like that. She's an absolutely phenomenal teacher. But she and Pete, my lovely Pete, actually she's married to somebody called Pete as well. So it's a bit confusing. And my sister-in-law on Pete's side is called Emma Smith.
Emma Louise Smith.
Emma
isn't
Louise,
it?
and I'm Emma Louise. So I'd be Emma Louise Smith if I'd
So
taken
it's very.
his name.
We've all gone for the same type of
We just
name.
thought we'll just stick with a name.
Yeah,
Paul.
then we can't forget.
It's working out. It's working
Yeah.
out. They seem to be getting on with the Peter
See,
and
my
Emma.
brother's called Peter Smith. My dad's called Peter Smith. You know what I mean?
dog's called Peter Smith.
My dad nearly got called Smith, like Neville. You know what I mean? It's just, it's really confusing. This.
But the
Northern
truth
thing.
is that You've lost me now.
Did you say the dog's called Peter Smith?
Yeah, I said the dog. 2 dogs.
Peter.
Peter Smith.
Peter.
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 In Chelsea, out of Team Mum 2.
Butler.
Their pig's called Peter.
I know.
Peter Pig.
Peter the pig.
But you've completely thrown me. Oh yeah, that was it. So my sister is like a little. She's dead petite, slim and petite, and like quite small. Not like me. I'm 5'8" and quite. I'm not stocky.
I'm 6'2".
But I'm strong.
I'm 6'2".
You're not 6'2". You're a liar. And that's another story we'll cover at some point. But basically, my sister and you are of the same ilk, aren't you?
Yes, we are.
So my sister and
Cut
me
from the
and
same
Pete,
cloth.
we all went to America. By the way, I am going to come on to the subject today that Pete doesn't know about because we never discussed this, and I have a subject to talk about today.
Oh, you're not going to put me on the spot again, are you?
Well,
You know,
after it worked out so well last week with acupuncture,
yeah.
well remembered.
Yeah. Which the update is, I am now. I can fly now.
No, but we went on holiday because we made it a decision to go to Orlando. We wanted to take the kids before they got too old. They actually were too old for it, if I'm honest. When we got there, they were far too old for Disney, but never mind. But my sister raved, didn't she, about it? She raved. So we saved up because it's a big old trip, isn't it? 3 weeks we went for.
Yeah, it's
not last
cheap.
year before. And we all hired a villa and everything. And me and Pete and the kids, we aren't really quite chilled when we're away. We just go with the flow, you know. We're not planners. She's a planner. We're not planners. So it was handy because she was a planner. So we just went and did what they did, and that's how it worked out. But it got to like the mid of the second week, and I was knackered. I was like, one, I don't think I can go and watch any more light displays without possibly mutilating one of the security guards just for a change.
Although the Star Wars one was amazing.
It was amazing. But what I'm saying is, by that point, the queues had almost killed me, and there were no big roller coasters. I went on that one where you thought you were flying through the air. That was all right. And I went on the Harry Potter one, and that was all right.
Well, ironically, the best roller coaster park was SeaWorld.
SeaWorld,
And that's
we
meant to
shouldn't
be-
have gone to because we're vegetarian.
Yeah, no. Well,
But-
we didn't go and do the SeaWorldy things.
We didn't watch any of the displays, but we did go. But my sister bought the tickets, so it was there. And they
Oh,
were
we
the
just went on the roller
best.
coasters. The best.
Busch
roller coasters.
Gardens were good as well.
Yeah, Busch Gardens was good.
Oh, it was
yeah.
amazing. A bit of a drive.
Busch Gardens was good.
Look at us reviewing Orlando. Yeah. Anyway, so, and everybody said, oh, you should have taken the kids when you were younger, when they were younger, because like they'd have really enjoyed it. So my boys would never have enjoyed it. One, they hate queues. Two, they've never been into Mickey and Minnie Mouse ever. Massively overrated. That's all I'm saying. Save yourself £14,000. Send me a check for half of it because I've just saved you a lot. But anyway, long story short, we got there, didn't we? And we were really chilled and like we didn't get angry. We just carried on with everything. There was one night where my sister, I said to her, look, we're not coming. We're going to go somewhere else. We're just going to take it easy, going to go for pizza or something, just have a bit of a road trip because I was driving. I'll drop you off. We sorted all that out. So we literally, didn't we? We said, what time do you want picking up? We should have known this. So 10:30 they wanted picking up at the end of it. So that's great. So we go to SeaWorld. We literally, on a roller coaster ride, we had to leave in the end because we made ourselves almost ill.
Oh, God, yeah. I couldn't do it anymore, me.
Yeah, I think that's probably where the back problem began. We were just on it all, weren't we? We were on, then
literally.
off, on, off. We were just running around, weren't we?
Yeah.
Massive.
That was the shark one,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it was amazing. Manto or something.
No,
I don't know what
it
it
wasn't the
was.
Manta, it was the... what's it called?
You didn't remember
It's
acupuncture
one of-
last week. It doesn't
It's
matter.
one of the shark names, you know,
Yeah.
the
It's one of
Baku
them.
or something, not the Baku. Something.
Yeah, something like that. So we went on these and we were like, yeah, let's go pizza now. So we just went for a drive. We didn't know where we were going, did we? Found this proper pizza place with bottomless coffee.
It was like a New Yorkie type.
It was so
It was
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like New York.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
It
you
was.
can do
Coffee.
actually, even though
Coffee.
it's America, so you can do that.
We
yeah.
have coffee. So we get in.
Coffee.
We ordered the best pizzas, spaghetti a lot, yeah. And then the phone goes just as it's getting served. And my sister's basically nearly had a physical fight with somebody and her daughter. They've
'Cause
both
this-
nearly had a physical fight.
Because they stood in front of them.
They stood in front of her. So that was our end of our meal as we got up and had to go and pick them up before they were removed by security.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's conflict. She does quite a lot of it. She's done the conflict for me, I think, in life, my sister.
Yeah.
I love her. She's one of my best friends, but she'll be
It's
the
a good
first
job I wasn't there because
to
it would
admit
have.
it would have ended up in a brawl.
Yeah, it would have been locked up.
We'd probably still be in America right now.
Yeah.
I'd be visiting, like you'd be in an orange suit,
Yeah, in a cage.
and you'd have loads of women writing to you.
I'll be like, what, wanting to marry me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Papa
Yeah.
Hick. Like, really.
But it would happen because I'd have divorced you for being such a fool.
Yeah.
I'd only be there for the Queen Eye side. Look, you're over.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean, doing 25 years ago.
Right, I'm going to go see my sister now.
That's what happens, isn't it? You were there, but you were there, nothing, you're 25 years. 25,
that's right.
25 years you're getting.
You were in the vicinity at that time and you were part of that
Yeah.
provocation. Therefore,
If you
are
weren't in the
guilty.
country, it wouldn't have happened.
That's right. That's it. It's
Yeah.
so rad. Anyway, so that was a procrastination and diversion.
Did you just say it's so rad?
No. I'm not like a skater.
I honestly
America.
thought that, yeah, it's so rad.
So
and I was
rad.
like, wow, big respect for saying that.
So rad.
Hey, man.
When I lived
used to say
in
that.
Australia
Rad.
and New Zealand,
Yeah.
particularly New Zealand, everything was sweet as.
Radical.
Sweet as. It's
Sweet
a
as,
sweet,
mate.
sweet as. Sweet as. The weather's sweet as.
Sweet as, mate.
Gonna go
It's
surfing.
radical.
Sweet as. Sweet as.
Sweet as.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's red.
And when you come back from America, from Australia, your voice has changed without you knowing, because I think mine still does it. It goes up quite a lot at the end of sentences, and that's completely from them.
Is it?
Yeah, it's them.
You
All
were there
their
for a
fault.
while. You were there for a while.
I was there for a while. I've got quite a mixed up accent. Somebody asked me the other week whether I was American. It was like, no, it isn't. Let's be honest. Out of all the accents that I might be saying, it's not American. It's
You
nothing
do have a
American
very,
about
very
this.
well-spoken accent, though.
I
so.
do. I have a proper northern accent.
You don't. You have because you went to
Berry Grammar.
Berry Grammar.
I went to Berry Grammar for girls.
Yes, like
Berry Grammar for girls.
your sort of accent. It is.
Oh no, I was well spoken.
Well, your
when I
mum
was
and dad are
younger.
well spoken anyway. So
Yes, mum tries to be middle class.
Mm-hmm.
My dad tries to be middle class too.
How do you say butter?
Butter,
Butter.
upper, butter,
Peter.
bucker.
Yella.
Somebody once said that I could say
Pebble.
the F word, posh. I was on the market stall,
Oh,
going around a market stall with my friend,
flaps.
and she swore, and then I swore, and he said, "Oh, that's a very posh swearing." I was about 14. I didn't really use that word very often. I did it, and then for the rest of the day, I was walking around just saying it to myself, and in the end, it just sounded stupid. I was like, "Why am I saying
Oh,
that word?"
farts.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say the word.
No, it's rude.
It's one of those words that we should rarely use on the podcast, if ever. So I was going to say, we've never talked about how we met. That's what I was going to talk about today.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we
that's
both
good.
have different perspectives of it in a shared space that is this relationship. And I
Yeah.
thought, our listeners, I feel like we know them and they know us now. I
Yeah.
feel like we should introduce our stories.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah. So that's what I thought we'd do.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want me to ramp it up and make it like sort of I was Luke Skywalker, you were Princess Leia, I came and saved you from. I'll just tell the truth.
I think probably the truth is where we should go with this one.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, I thought we would talk about meeting and what happened
Yeah.
and the weird little synchronicity and agendas that led to this love story
yeah.
that will be written about from scholars from aeons to aeons.
Yeah.
Probably a film will be made.
I mean,
of
that's
this.
what I was thinking, you know, like Notting Hill-esque, Wimbledon, you know.
Wait a minute. Notting Hill.
Yeah, you know.
Are we talking about when Hugh Grant meets Pretty Lady, the A-lister? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not quite the same though, is it?
Richard
Pete?
Gere must be well paid off when he was in, you know what I mean?
Well, she was,
No-
she was a prostitute at that point.
Yeah,
Which is later on in her career where she's amassed movies behind her.
Yeah.
But the point is, you can't compare that and me and you.
Wait, and Wimbledon then?
I'm not a tennis player. Or in a non-heterosexual relationship anymore. So that's, again, a terrible comparison.
Yeah.
It's Pete and Emma.
Yeah.
It's
So,
Pemma.
Pemma. Oh, there we go.
You heard it
There we
here
go.
first,
You heard it
kids.
first. Pemma. Sounds like some sort of like gastric juice that you drink to help you. If you woke up in the morning and you're feeling uneasy and queasy, drink some Pemma. It's not pink, it's yellow.
No, because Pemma doesn't rhyme with yellow. Pemma yellow.
It always does if you say,
No,
I'm
Pemma.
woke up in the morning feeling queasy. Let's make it easy. Have some Pemma. It's not pink, it's yellow. It works.
It doesn't. Give some to your friend
Pemma.
Gemma.
Yeah.
In my head, I've got like the real Japanese version of it. You know, like where they're like bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pemma. Pemma. That's the advert. You can see it now, all the writing coming in. Shing, shing, someone coming in like, yeah. ching. You know, that's the noises, isn't it? Whoosh, and it jumps up. It's all like bright pink and like 3D, like writing. You know.
And the guy's got one of those white things on his head.
Yeah, and a pair of like super weird goggle things, and it's like that comes in, and it's like hammer. That's it.
Any brands who want to get in touch with Pete, he's available for marketing purposes.
I am. It's not very, appropriate in a way.
So anyway, we met because this happened. I was married for a while. I married somebody who was a really good mate when I was younger and never really married for love. We kind of just married because we quite bored and thought we'd do it. It was terrible, really, when I look back. Our reasons for getting married were not the right reasons, but we were young. So we got married. We had an average relationship for a while. It was perfectly all right. I'm not going to say anything bad about my ex-husband because actually we got on really well with each other. And, I don't have any negativity towards him at all. In fact, I only have gratitude towards my ex-husband. That's very, very true.
Well,
and I think it's reflected. Not so long ago he came round and we were having a chat and I just said about, how we'd done the breakup well, and he just was like, yeah, we did a really good job of it, didn't we? And it's like a real honour and privilege that we did it well. I'm proud of it. We didn't do any of that arguing about the kids. We didn't do any of them. We just kept it completely.
Yeah,
it was hard. It was bloody hard getting divorced. I mean, because you've been through it.
Yeah.
You have the wrangling about money. It just doesn't matter whether you kind of are not angry with the person. Money's like a big part. The only people who bloody win are lawyers, aren't they? I'm quite lucky. I had the best lawyer in the world, and you did because you used mine. She was bloody cheap. She was bloody cheap, and she was fantastic, wasn't she? She just made everything sound a bit scary for the opponent. So I gave what I needed to give. Didn't even argue it. It was not contested. I was just like, there you go, have it, and we get on really, really well. But at the end of the day, I was left with like a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I was really happy on my own. Really happy on my own. In fact, I would say the years of being single at that point with my boys, that was the happiest time I'd ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And I mean that, like, it was just intoxicating.
You can see,
beautiful.
from the photos that you have and stuff like that, you'd certainly embraced.
I just loved it.
Being a little squad.
I was doing my team.
Yeah,
Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And that kind of carried on. And I remember when we met, I remember saying to you that I had always envisaged that I might meet somebody when I was about 50.
Yeah.
After the kids had left home, when they were sorted and I felt like there was no emotional collateral that could affect them. I didn't invite any man into their life. There was one guy that I kind of hung out with a bit who met them once, but it was not in a relationship sense. And there was my best friend Jamie, who obviously knew them because he'd been in my life a long time. But aside from that, I kept my private life incredibly private and kept very, very separate.
You did.
And I had this kind of, again, I would say almost like quite a strong belief that introducing any man was going to be bad. Not because men are bad. I love men. I've got good men in my life. Yeah. But I just thought, I can't promise that I'm going to commit.
I think it's a sensible. I think a lot of single mums do that. I think, sensible ones anyway. I say sensible ones. The sensible ones are they don't want to affect the children's lives.
I don't think any single one wants to affect their children's lives.
Yeah,
bad mistakes.
A lot of single mums do that, don't they?
They do, but just to put in their defence, and I'm not arguing with you.
No.
What I'm saying, because I hate conflict. What I'm saying is, I think it's very easy for us to be judgy about women, but it's the women who have to stay and have the kids. You don't have a lot of privacy. You don't have a lot of time. You still want sex.
Yeah.
So a lot
just
of
trying
women
to protect the children,
make mistakes around the kids, but it's not from a bad place. And I do think that's important to say.
Yeah, you're right. You dug me out of a hole there.
Yeah, no, but it is. It's one of those things, isn't it? I get it, and I think women often feel that crushing judgment of society. I did.
I guess there's single dads as well that don't introduce women to their kids' lives. They just want to protect them from any emotional situation that could go down that isn't needed until they know.
Yeah, I just didn't want a relationship because I thought if a relationship enters my life, I'll affect my children because of the way I feel within a relationship. Because you have a feeling within a relationship. But what happened was, one day was sat in my bedroom and I got a text message, and the text message said, do you know what, if I look back on our text messages, it's funny I've never gone back that far. It'll be there, won't it, that first text?
Oh my God, yeah.
God.
I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, we'll have to have a look. It'll take like 4 days scrolling back.
Well, sure, I've got a program you can put in. You can download them all.
That'd be so good. It'd be so cute, that. There'll be somewhere there's rows as well. But anyway, that very first text. And it just said, hi Emma, it's Peter. Peter. He's never called himself. I don't know why you called yourself Peter. It's Peter from Youth Support. My head's a little bit of a mess because my wife's left me. I wondered if you could spare some time for a chat. And I worked at the college running like the mental health side of the college. For those of you who've listened, I'm not going to go into it. You can listen to one a few back and you'll hear about what I used to do. But I also used to offer this like Wednesday drop-in for staff, which was basically just everyone would come and have a cup of tea.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
It was just like people would be sat
It
on
wasn't.
desk.
It wasn't like in a therapeutic.
No, it's because I'd had a similar situation. That
Yeah,
Kev,
that's what,
who was Pete's boss, had said, look, Emma's obviously had a similar experience. My husband had an affair. So good connection to make. So I remember picking up the phone and giving you a call straight away. And we were on the phone for about 40 minutes. And I just said to you, just get over it, mate. Like, she's done you a favour because at the end of the day, you were going to waste your life with somebody who didn't love you. Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do. And then I went to Ibiza.
Then you went to Ibiza.
Yeah.
And you almost met somebody there.
Oh, yeah, that was...
I nearly missed my spot. I nearly missed my opportunity.
That wouldn't have been anything that would have been just fueled by Ibiza, basically, if you get my drift. Yeah, Ibiza would have fueled that.
She could have ran off with you.
Yeah.
You were going off to New York to meet her and everything, weren't you?
Oh, no, not really.
Well, you were. That's what was happening in your head.
I just, I didn't really, I didn't really remember that Ibiza trip. To be fair, it was
Miserable for you, really. As
yeah. Well, I was supposed to do all sorts over there as well, you know, and May just wasn't with anything. You know, it was
horrible.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. I got over it.
Well, a week later,
Yeah.
you texted me and said, "Hi, I'm feeling a bit better now. Thank you." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he wrote, "I don't know how you cope. You're really good with everybody at college. I don't know how you can kind of cope supporting people." And I wrote back, "I kick dogs really hard."
But bear in mind what I'd done by this time. I'd got to grips with the whole divorce thing. It was happening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was all just, with me, it was more of a shock of like, oh, God, well, that's a bit of a
it's really
change,
shocking.
you know?
It's shocking.
Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Uh,
What's my picture? My picture of my future. It's gone.
yeah.
I have no control over it.
That was more, I mean, my marriage was breaking down for a long time. It was, you know, it was just boring. It was just not, it was nothing.
Yeah,
So,
mine
you
was.
know,
But it's what you know.
but when...
It's what you know.
Difference between, I mean, I still thank my ex for getting me to this point.
Yeah.
I must admit it was the same
You
journey.
have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But not too keen on her. So let's just leave that one at the door. And put a kibosh in that one with her. What I thought was just, right, I'm not gonna sit and worry about money and stuff. I just thought, right, I'm gonna go, and I moved into a really nice place.
Gorgeous.
It was a shared house with a guy.
But we had it to ourselves.
Yeah, with a guy called Taz, who was
He was
a
ace.
really cool dude.
He's still a really cool
He's
dude.
still a really cool dude. Yeah.
Mental.
Mental.
In the
yeah.
most brilliant of
Yeah,
ways.
like total, just like he was a party animal. You know,
He was great.
He was one of those young Asian lads who'd gone off the path of his traditional route and gone into raving. You know,
He was
per se.
lovely.
And he was brilliant in his vinyl and stuff. And I lived there. I moved there,
You did.
and it was a shared house.
Because the
and
Olympics was on and stuff.
the Olympics were on, yeah, and because it was like a shared house, that he was never there, and the other two people who worked for like BBC and ITV or something, they were never there. So basically, I had this
Fantastic
Jackson's warehouse,
place.
3-bedroom, high voltage ceiling place to myself and Emma, you know. So
Yeah, but I texted him and he sent back something really funny. And do you remember?
I strangle weasels or
Yeah,
something,
strangle
which is a bit
weasels.
inappropriate. If you don't.
And it was so weird. But there were two weird things when I look back, because the first conversation that we had, I remember putting the phone down and thinking, I'm going to sleep with him. Back in the day, I was a bit of a predator when it came down to attractive men. And I'd seen him around at the college and we'd occasionally talk to each other, hadn't we? You'd
Yes.
seen me when I was doing OMG with Peaches Geldof and you were like, did I see you in a basque on television yesterday?
Yes.
And I was like, it's a corset. It's a very strong corset. And I was
Yeah.
dressed as a vampire. We shouldn't talk about this ever again. Do you remember?
I think that there was something stopping us from actually
Yeah, 'cause I saw
properly,
everyone,
'cause
didn't
you knew
I?
everybody at the
Yeah, I
college,
knew everybody.
But I sort of steered away from you.
Yeah, it was weird.
I wonder.
Well, it's because you used to walk in and I'd be going something about pornography or
Yeah,
I'd
and
be
I'd be
chatting
like-
with my mouth off, my little potty mouth about things.
Yeah.
But I remember putting the phone down and thinking, oh, he's quite fit, really, Pete. I've never really thought about it because I'm very, very clear. If you're married, it's not happening.
Well, I'd have been very stupid not to think that about you. You see, to being completely blind and.
But I remember always thinking you were quite cute, but I didn't obviously entertain it. I didn't even think about it. But I put the phone down. I thought, I think I'm going to sleep with him. I think he'll be my project. Because obviously, whilst I wasn't having relationships, I was having sex.
Yeah.
There was no issue with that. I'm a very, very liberal
I'd like to
woman.
state this wasn't in a therapist type of way either. This
Oh, no,
was,
no,
it
but it
was
doesn't
just
matter anyway, does it? There was no therapy there. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't about that. Well, unless you include killing weasels.
Yeah.
And you and me...
I didn't kill them, strangling them.
Yeah, you
That's-
strangled them, sorry. Just choke them, just make them
Yeah.
slightly unconscious.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, hang on a minute, that sounds like one of the weird sex games. What this, bestiality, what? We're going on a different route now.
But I remember like us texting loads. And we just started to text, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
And
Some of the text, it was a cross between Monty Python, Eddie Izzard,
it was hilarious.
Vic and Bob, sort of that humour.
Yeah,
know.
it was so funny. And then by the time you first came to see me, I was sat in the office and you had a 2 p.m. because I could see you at 2 p.m. to just properly meet and like chat. And you were waiting like in a place, like there was a waiting room, like nobody wait, everyone just came and knocked on. And I was like, where's my certificate and a stoat and a hat? Because
Yeah.
that's what he was meant to bring me on our first meeting. He was meant to bring me a stoat and a hat. And he did indeed bring me a picture of a stoat and a hat. And you came in, didn't you?
And a certificate.
No, that was the next on the
Oh,
wheat.
was
That
it?
was no, that was no. You're right. I got a certificate for not eating wheat. That was right.
That was it,
We go
yeah.
gluten
Because
free.
I was gluten and dairy free and wheat free
God, I was ripped then.
and caffeine free.
I was absolutely ripped then.
for 2
physically.
years.
I need to get back to that. I was so ripped. I was so muscly, and I was so lean. I'm lean now, but I'm letting it go a bit, south.
Oh, we were gymming it every day.
We were.
I was putting you through your paces.
You were. It was great. But anyway, in more ways than one.
Were Mrs. Fanaf in Barcelona.
But do you remember you came into that? You came in and we had an hour, didn't we? Just chatting and catching up, like, and kind of just as friends.
Yeah. And hang on a minute. I have never felt energy in a room from two people, including, obviously I was part of that, but I wasn't expecting it at all. I actually, for anybody who's ever been in a situation where the sexual energy is so thick,
Palpable.
it could almost scrape it in the air and mold it into a bloody, sculpture.
We had this meeting, didn't we?
I was just sat there. I was thinking. I mean, people are probably just thinking. Why
Oh, I was
talking-
properly flirting. I
Oh
was
man,
throwing
I've
it.
never. I was just
Buckets
like,
of it.
and I was in good shape. I was probably another stone on either size now, and I was
Yeah.
like muscles.
Yeah,
and I
you
was
were really
like,
muscly.
Sat and I was thinking,
Had like an 8-pack.
man, I'm a man. And I've never done this for like 10 years because I've been in a relationship with a troglodyte.
Oh no, don't.
Oh no,
don't
that's
be
it.
don't be nasty about
Sorry.
her because
Okay.
that's part of the reason that we're here. But anyway, she just has a very big nose. That's what he's saying. But
Yes.
at the end of the day, you're born that way, and you can't. There's nothing wrong with a big nose.
Well, I mean, the vein feeds.
That's stop being horrible.
I know it's quite
now.
bullyish, but
Anyway,
it's not very nice.
although do you remember when you actually renamed her contact
Oh my
details
God,
as
I know.
ex Big Nose?
Going through the divorce, and she was being really nasty, and I actually had her contact details as ex Big Nose. And when the email went through, it obviously went through with the contact details, and then the email address at the top it just said ex Big Nose. Oh, I know. And she sent an email back saying, "Who's ex Big Nose?" And I just left it. Have you actually just asked that? I mean, I feel terrible now because I'm not that type of person. But I was going through a divorce and she really pissed me off, you know what I mean? So, and like,
It's
she had
more
a big nose, you
What the
know.
fact that she asked you?
I know. Who's ex Big Nose? Do I need to answer that? So I just left it.
Terrible. Anyway, yeah, we basically had that meeting, didn't we? And do you remember at the end of it, Umar came in.
Yes.
Umar came in. Umar was a really good friend of mine, but also knew Pete quite well. And he came in, didn't he? Because he always came in. He came every single Wednesday.
Yeah.
Umar came to any session that he could drop into. It was great. We had a right laugh, me and Umar. And he walked in and he sat there. And Umar is Muslim. And he's quite a strict Muslim, actually. He's nearly an imam,
Yeah.
in fact. They're trying to make him an imam. And apart from him being a genuine delight to work with, he and I had quite a close relationship. And one of the things that he said when I split up with my husband was, we need to find you a husband. And I'd be like, I'm Western. I don't need a husband. He was like, no, in the Muslim faith, it's very important that we try to connect women who have children with good men. It's just part of what we do. And I used to just be like, get over it. And he was really, really adamant that he'd do this. He came in, he sat down, and then for about 10 minutes, and then you went.
Yeah.
And as you went, he went, and he pointed at you leaving and pointed at me and was just like right. And I was like, no, no, you don't. And he walked out.
Well, I walked out absolutely just thinking, my God, she's just gorgeous. You know, like I'd never, because I've been in a relationship and I'm a loyal person. You see, I'm not.
You hadn't touched another woman, had you, for a long time?
Yeah. And I was just like, wow, you know, like, gosh, like that was, hang on a minute, I'm not even divorced yet, and I've this, you know, like, but I was getting divorced, you know, and I'm not supposed to be doing this because I'm, you know, I've got a bit of time, you know, but yeah, it bowled me over. It was really, really sort of confusing in a way.
Yeah.
You know, to be brutally honest, because it was like, oh gosh, like, wow.
And I was like, I shall have him.
but then, I think, was it the same day? Or
No, then 2 days later, so that was the Wednesday. 2 days later, I was sat in Newbank Garden Centre with my mum, my sister,
yes,
and myself. And I was sitting there because we were having a coffee because we're very close, my family. We're very, some would say a little bit fused. Some would say live within a 3-mile radius and see each other all the time.
I think it's lovely,
but we're very codependent and I'm happy with that. So we were out having a coffee and I got a phone call and it was Umar. And he goes, hi, Emma. Just wondering, if there was a man, we'll say a man, who really didn't mind that you had children and was maybe interested in you, and maybe would like to go for a drink sometime, would you say yes or no? And I just went, you're talking about Pete, aren't you? And he went, yes. And I went, well, he's going through a divorce, but more importantly, because now we're going from I'm going to have sex with him to this is actually something that could turn into a drink. I've not had a drink with somebody my entire time. That's not what I do. And I was like, well, one, he's not got kids, and I think that probably it's something that he might want to venture down a path of. And secondly, I have children, and actually my focus is my kids. So I think that really he needs to rethink that, and you need to rethink that, because I don't think it's the right space for him. And really in my head, I was thinking, yes, I'd love to go for a drink, but obviously I'm playing that role of being like really, really caring and thinking about you. Yeah. And then
but then
he
on
rang
the flip
you.
side, so and then I'm in the college. And I got this call, and it was Umar, and it must have been after the one. After or before, and he went, right.
I think it was before, because I think he wanted to check
I said,
out the
right,
kids.
and how are you doing? He said, right, so, hypothetically speaking, I said, what? He says, so if there was like somebody that was, you know, a girl that really liked you, and that but she had children, would that work? And I was just like, so you're talking about Emma? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, because I didn't know you had children. And I was like, and I was just like, well, she's absolutely gorgeous, Umar, you know what I mean? And the children, and I was just trying to explain to him that it didn't, but there was not like it doesn't bother me or I'm bothered. It was just like, if Emma has children, then Emma has children. That's not, what's that got to do with, you know, and I understood that some people don't like. Some people say that children, you know, now to me it's just like, so if you like somebody, you like everything that comes with them, you know. And he said, well, and obviously I knew it was you. I was like, and he was like, well, and I was like, what did she like? And he was saying that you liked me, and he was going, you know, and I was like, well, yeah, I like her, I really like her. I said, but I'm going through a divorce, so I mean, you know, just.
So it was like on both sides there was kind of apprehension, but even then we weren't acknowledging that we'd had these conversations with anybody, because we were just texting just normally and having a bit of a laugh. And then one day, Jamie, who is my best friend at the college and still a very good friend, came in one day and was like chatting to me, and I went, how tall's Pete? Because I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out how tall he was, because he'd come in the office and sit down. I knew he wasn't super tall, but I didn't want him to be smaller than me. It's just a thing I've got. I just really struggle with men who are shorter than me. It's a thing about power. And so Jamie just went up to you, didn't he? And went, how tall are you? How tall are you? And he came back and lied and said he was 5'11". He was actually 5'9.5", but never mind, we'll put that aside. It's still
I'm
an inch and a half.
5'10" and a bit. I'm not 5'9.5". I'm 5'10" and a little bit.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, keep saying 5'9".
I know, and I'm not. I'm 5'10" and a little
Oh,
bit,
you're
and 5'10" and a half.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not. I'm going to measure you. You're 5'9.5". You came into the office that day. You were dead miserable about it, and you said that you weren't 5'11". You'd realised you were an inch and a half less. You were 5'9".
I'm just over 5'10".
There's no
She measured
way.
me. The woman at the doctor's measured me without my shoes on, and I was just over 5'10". I swear to God.
Right, well, I'm measuring you now.
Okay.
Anyway, you're perfect to me at 5'9.5".
Right.
All I'm saying is you were taller than me.
I'm 6'2".
Yeah, that's it. But
7'1".
And I'm the problem because I'm quite tall. If I was just an average short woman, 5'4", you'd be huge to me.
I like it.
Yeah. So at that point, we weren't really communicating about that, but it was clear that like things were being motioned by other people.
Yeah, I mean stuff like I would like to come and wrestle you in your underwear.
No, that
No?
was when it started. Yes, no, yeah, that did happen. I'm writing things like, "Oh, it's really weird. I've not felt this way since I was 15." Kind of like, and you weren't.
I wasn't
really,
registering it all. I was
you weren't.
I'm not used to.
picking up on that stuff, and I was thinking, "Oh my god, this is going to take forever." And then one day, after he'd written things about wrestling me in my underwear and stuff, we were having lots of dance-offs in our stuff. We were doing loads of like competition. He's very funny, Pete, as you might have heard, and you are very, very funny in your written work as well. So I would like spend all day, like no work got done for a good month.
Oh no! I mean, literally, I literally was just walking around the college.
I know. It was so funny.
Thinking,
it was so funny.
How good's this girl?
So then I had to go to Nottingham. So my ex-husband and me shared a week each in Nottingham because I had my son having a special eye test because one of my sons has got a problem with his sight. So he was having a special trial over at Nottingham. So I went for a full week and I took my mum, obviously, full week off work with my son. Went to this morning and everything. He came with me. It was brilliant. And we had a really nice weekend. It was good weather. And obviously me and my mum, I love being around her. So we had such a nice time and Tide was just loving it. Because he was only a dot then. He was just, coming up for 9. Anyway, God, when you think about it now, it's just like mad, isn't it? But I remember texting and I was in this dark room because we had to sit in this dark room.
I remember where I was when I was texting you.
Yeah. And he wrote, by the way, I'll have to take you for a drink. That was when you finally did it. And I went, has Jamie asked you to ask me for a drink? And he can't lie. He was like, yeah, Jamie asked me to ask you for a drink. And I was like, I cannot
But I was going to ask you,
it.
like a drink, but a drink, it's just like, drink? Like, do we drink?
I rang up Jamie straight away. I was like, how could you? I went, do you know what? This is literally how it went. I went, do you know what, Jamie? I said, fair play. I said, because I'd have done exactly the same thing. I said, I forgive you entirely for doing this. I said, because I would have done the same. I said, but fair play to you. I said, because I'm going to kill you. I said, but about an hour later, he rings me. I can't believe I've done that to you, Emma. I can't believe it. I was like, no, I would have done the same. I'm exactly the same kind of person. Don't be daft. So then I know he's going to take me out. And then I think, but will I have sex if he takes me out? Because what if we go out and we're not as good fun together as we think we are?
Yeah.
So then I thought, well, physically I was very attracted to him. He did have a solid six-pack, didn't you, and everything. Like, he had that V and everything. It was amazing. It was kind of quite mythical in the youth department, if I'm honest. I remember Charlene, one of our co-workers, going, she didn't know that I was interested in you. She was talking about you. She was like, oh, I stayed at whatever that Malcolm House with Pete, because he used to sleep over some of the stuff he used to do with youth. And he was like, and he showed me his six-pack, and I went, oh, I think fancy you a bit now. And she's like laughing about it.
What it was, when the divorce started, I was just like, right, that's it. I mean, because I was gymming it anyway. I just started going to the gym like 2-3 times a day. I lived opposite Pew Gym, just in there.
I know. So he was quite mythical in that department, and he was known as Gorgeous Pete. Everybody knew him at college as Gorgeous
Pete. Which I didn't have a clue.
There was you and Stuart. Stuart was the other one who was like an attractive guy, lovely bloke as well. But you were kind of sexy, whereas Stuart was just a really nice man. So I'd always built up that kind of idea that you were going to be great in bed, and that's the truth. That was where I was at. I fancied you. I felt there was a connection, and I thought I don't get to go anywhere very often, and my parents are incredibly lovely. And I basically said to my mum, I'm having Pete over, will you have the kids? Because what happened is he sent me this text about the drink. I had that conversation, and then I'm sat in this dark room and I just thought, oh, this is going to go on forever. Yeah. So I just wrote back basically,
I was very, very,
do you just want to come over? Just come over and let's have sex.
No, you said, I'm sat in a dark room having very inappropriate thoughts about you. And I just sent back saying, well, that's good, because I've been having inappropriate thoughts about you.
And then it just
mental. It went on the scale of 1 to 10 of debaucherous and sexual texting, that it went, and I'd never done that before. So it was quite it was like this pent up sexual energy of like...
You'd go a year without having sex with your wife.
I know, but
so that is hard work.
Honestly, the abstinence forced upon you and the stuff that you can go over in your head all the time makes you an absolute monster.
Warrior.
In bed. It makes you use special powers.
So we had like,
Oh, yucking!
we went, that's another brand. You've introduced a sex brand now, have you?
Oh, yucking! Yeah.
In the Japanese side.
Oh, yucking!
But basically, so what happened next was we had these texts, flirtatious experience texts, and we arranged for the following Wednesday, didn't we? And you came and saw me in the day.
My God. Yeah.
That was so funny. And we just sat there and we were just waiting for the day to end because you were coming to visit me. And I can still remember you knocking on my door and I dragged you in. Do you remember?
Yeah,
I was just like, get here.
Yeah, it was literally. This is like, this podcast is like, it's like a better version of bloody Mr. Grey or whatever it is, isn't it? You know what I mean?
That's so pathetic.
It's crap, isn't it?
It's
That,
terrible.
yeah, we blow that out of the water.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean,
Anybody
that
who
was,
thinks that this, like, that Christian Grey books are good, you really need to come and see me for some sex therapy because it's terrible. It's
Yeah.
awful. Yeah, it was. But what I'm saying is that night was mental because it was just like we fitted together really perfectly in More Maids Than One.
Yeah.
We were like so into each other. And you love the fact that halfway through I brought out a feast of wheat-free
Yeah.
products.
I love the way you say it, halfway through. That's what it was like, yeah, because I was wheat and dairy free, and it was just like, oh my God, this woman.
need sustenance.
This woman is perfect. Move in. I was literally living with you within 3 weeks. Right? There's no point in you coming round just every now and then. You might as well move in.
Yeah, I know.
And I brought a whole world of, like, a whole house full.
But it was strange because that's what I'm saying. That was probably the weirdest part, that I went from being this straight up stereotypical woman who was like, you're never meeting my kids, to anybody and everybody. They were like my precious, precious, precious. You know, when people say baggage, if my kids are baggage, they are couture, designer, priceless baggage.
Yeah,
They are the best,
yeah.
and nobody's going to
So they
carry
should-
them
you know, so they should
unless
be.
I, yeah,
So
and
they should
rightfully
be.
so. But me and Pete, after that night, I was just like, one, it was amazing. It was amazing.
You're
It was
making
the
my
best
head's growing.
sex I'd ever had. But it was the best sex I'd ever had. And I've had great sex.
I've gone
But it was
over it
the
in my head
best
for
sex.
years. You
It was
know,
amazing.
That's what you do.
It was
you know, When
amazing.
you're not with the right person.
Yeah.
You're not. When you're not with the right person, or you've never been with the right person, and you know that you've got the skills, it's like, you know, you sort of ruminate on it, and it becomes this. You know, it's like that film. I don't know if you remember a film years ago called Revenge of the Nerds. And Revenge of the Nerds, and it was all these nerds, and there's all these cheerleaders and stuff. And at the end, I think it was the first film, not the second one. The film they got with these nerds, and they were doing sexual things with them, and they couldn't believe how good they were. And they said, "How come you're so good at this?" And they were like, "Because we think about it a lot."
Yeah. Well, that was definitely,
You know.
definitely the case. And then you left, and I remember just thinking, God, because my kids obviously weren't at the house. My parents were brilliant. They perfectly knew that I was having Peter. My mum had been involved in it all. She'd been with me, and I'd been telling her. And I'd asked my son's permission as well.
Yeah.
I'd asked whether it was okay if I were to bring a man home. And my eldest son said to me, everybody you know is great, mummy, and he will be the same. He will be great. And I remember thinking that was really important. And then I was kind of filming bits and bobs, and I can remember like talking to the kids again and saying to them, you know, I really like this guy.
Yeah.
Would you like to meet him? And they were like, yeah. And then you came over, didn't you? Probably about 3 weeks after we'd started hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
And we went bowling.
Oh, it was. I remember the first time that I saw them. Yeah, it was. I'd seen photos of them. We talked about them, and yeah, it was. It was phenomenal, really. It was like two
ace.
little cool skatey kids with like long,
Long
hair,
hair.
and they were just dead sweet.
They are.
You know, they were just like showing me the toys and hiding around the door, but like I was looking down, like into the corridor, and there was this Hulk at the end, like this Hulk head thing sticking out, this rubber Hulk going. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, and like Evan popped his head around and was like, and I was like, brilliant, that's well good. Let's have a look at that. And then they were just, they're just. You know,
I think
I dressed
the
up
thing
as
with you
Superman
and
and
me-
everything with them, and
Yeah, I know. I've got brilliant pictures of you as a superhero. You should try and put some links on so people can see them. That'd be so cute.
I'll edit them in.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
But that was the thing from the beginning. It always felt like you had taken like the whole family as a bonus, not me and then the kids.
Oh God, yeah.
And you weren't interested in my TV at all. That was just never a place for you. You weren't interested. I mean, I've never been interested in that anyway. It's
Well,
not
I
something-
didn't know that you
No.
did this morning TV and stuff. I just thought you were, you did
The therapy.
The therapy, but I knew you'd done something with that Beaches Golf, but I didn't really know that. But I knew that you were like the top end of the. I mean, you only went to Emma. For anybody out there who's listening, you only went to Emma when it was like the end
Serious
game,
crisis.
serious crisis. You know, so it was. He didn't just go and shot any student at Emma because that's where we worked with and we could sort them out. You know, but our teachers, you know, or the tutors or whatever we had to do, and
It was mad because it's funny, isn't it? Because as well, I always say this. I was talking to my acupuncturist about this the other day. I was saying that I remember all my good memories in summer, and I know that they weren't summer. Working with the young offenders in Wythenshawe definitely wasn't summer, but I remember it in summer. Working with my travelling minorities, always summer. Brilliant. Going on site, always summer. And meeting you and being with the kids is always memorised as summer. It must be
it
the
was
way that
building
my...
up to the summer, wasn't it?
But it must be how I store my memories, my good memories.
Yeah.
And we literally didn't have any issues with transitioning because, one, Pete moved in within 3 months. So you started staying over. Remember, we had 3 Wednesdays and then my parents gave me a full weekend, didn't they? And in between this, he went to a wedding of his friends where he was the guy who was one of the wedding party and his wife was, still wife then, was a bridesmaid.
Oh, God,
and I
yeah.
can remember seeing a picture of you with one of your friends on that side and she was kissing your cheek on the other side.
On purpose, yeah.
But I remember just thinking to myself, it's cool. Like, you took that down quite quickly, so you must have realised that there was something there or untagged yourself because you'd done that. But I wasn't bothered because I didn't feel like there was only once where I had a real jitter.
I was left
with
in
you.
bloody. I was left. That was terrible. That.
Yeah, but the point was... there
Very,
was
very
only-
drunk, and then the day after just
Oh,
got like
no.
left. It was like,
But I remember that feeling of like, it was secure, I was secure.
yeah.
And then...
I was actually walking around just showing people pictures of you.
Yeah.
So.
And then we went and got to stay a whole... My mum and dad were lovely and they let me stay a Friday and Saturday night. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday night at yours. It was the best weekend I'd had in such a long time, like as an adult. And we just had such fun. Do you remember I fell asleep on the couch on you? Because we'd been clubbing because you'd been to Sankey's because that was where Pete was a resident DJ and they'd let us in for free. And we just stood and snogged all night.
I know.
Like we were kids.
I know.
Like proper, somebody came over and were like, why are you snogging? And we
I
were
think I was like I told you before we went out. I said to you, didn't I? I said, oh,
that was it. So
Yeah.
I get to Pete's. That's so romantic. I got to Pete's. This is like literally 3 weeks after we got together. Do you remember?
I know, yeah.
I walked in and Pete got me in the middle of the room, grabbed my hands. He was all dressed up. And I was like, oh, this is a bit serious. And he said to me, I just want you to know before I have a drink and before I alter my mind that if I start saying things to you tonight, that I mean them because I'm well and truly falling for you like that. And I went, oh, I've already hit the ground.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah. It was.
And you told me you loved me.
I did.
You told me you loved me.
I just think because I was worried at my head that it was, you know, is this what people call a rebound? Is it going too fast? Am I mentally or what? But I just, it
I
just
remember
smashed me in the
saying,
face and the
yeah,
bat.
yeah.
You know, so when people say, you see, I was one of those kids that had a really big imagination when I was growing up. I liked doing kid man stuff, you know, the sort of stereotypical man
Yeah.
stuff, you know, the
Footy and lava.
yeah, you know, but I was into music and breakdance. Like I mentioned before
Tire
on the podcast.
flipping.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, though, like growing up. But I always
Yeah.
had it in the back of my mind that I wanted, and it was like not a stereotypical young boy. I used to have this thing of like, oh, the fairy tale, meeting a nice woman, and I'd see it in movies. You know what I mean? As you grow up, and you sort of, I think there'd be a lot of guys out there that still have that vibe going in from when they were younger. You know what I mean? And in a way they can sort of
Relate to it, yeah.
yeah, you know. And it was that sort of like, wow, because when we finally sort of moved in and started to, it was really serious and stuff, you know. I remember just saying to you, you know, like you said it to me as well, you feel like you've won.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you've gone on all these journey of like relationships and stuff like that, you know. And when people say, oh, there is always somebody for anybody for somebody, you know,
Yeah.
at some point, obviously you've got to put yourself in a situation sometimes, or be in the vicinity, or, you know, but sometimes you hit the jackpot and you're lucky you meet the person
Yeah.
without even doing any effort. You
Yeah,
know?
it was effortless.
And which it wasn't, but it was literally love at first sight.
It
you know,
was.
it was like, what the God,
Yeah.
you know, like
It was.
it was definitely a
You asked me to marry me within like 4 months.
yeah. Yeah.
That was so cute as well. So, again, I'd never been romantic. In fact, I used to be accused of being, well, I was known at college as the ice maiden, the ice queen, because I could take anything. I was resilient and I didn't get emotionally involved with anything. And I'd been proud of that. It was kind of like a bit of a badge of honour for me. And on reflection, that's like a bit sad, really, because I think I felt that I just didn't believe in any of that stuff. I didn't believe in romance, didn't believe in love. To me, like a great relationship was just being able to live with somebody and pay the bills and get on.
Well,
That
I was
a
done,
great
yeah. After that
relationship.
divorce, I was done. I was
Yeah.
thinking, right, I'm just going to go and party.
Yeah.
I'm going to work, do my music. I'm going to go in the gym. I'm going to get fit. And I'm going to make loads of music and
Yeah.
do it that way.
I can remember just before we got together, I lay in bed one night and I just said to the universe, okay, I'll be open. I made a conscious decision to be open because I think I'd been very close and then you walked into my life and I remember thinking, oh, that's kind of a real reassurance from the universe that this is right. But it was a whirlwind, wasn't it? And I think that that's one of the things that's really countered a lot of the kind of advice I gave. There's two things that have affected me personally that have changed the way that, for example, I do therapy. One was when I had the blood condition that I still have, but now is treated, and it caused a huge amount of personal anxiety. So unfortunately, a side effect of my blood condition is when I have very, very low iron, I get hyper anxious, and I started to suffer from quite severe anxiety and depression for a period of time until they adjusted my bloods, and then I was fine. But I tell you what, that stopped me ever saying to people, come on, get out of bed, come on, go for a run.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. I'm like, if you get to my office, then you're a bloody warrior. If you're depressed, it's bloody awful.
If you can get here, then...
Oh my God. And I would not wish it. I would not wish it. And I mean this on my worst enemy. It's the devil. Depression and anxiety, it's the devil, and people just need to be compassionate. And the other thing is, I would always have said to people, look, have some space. Don't get into a relationship when you've just broken up with somebody. Don't introduce them to the kids. I would have been that narrative.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I look back and I think it just shows you that actually, if there's an opportunity in something that's priceless beyond measure in front of you, and you place boundaries in front of it because of societal expectation and schemas around you, and you miss it. Like, imagine if we hadn't been together. Like, my boys have grown up for most of their life. Like Evan says, I can't remember before Pete. Like, you can't remember. I mean, my eldest calls you father, doesn't he? But my youngest still calls you Pete. But
I think it's just because
it's just just the way it is in that way. But
because everybody else.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
everybody else
your dad to everybody. But
well, he calls me all sorts of names. He's like he's like our youngest is
it's
like,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. He's like a walking, talking encyclopedia of nonsense.
Yeah, he is. He's just
Brilliant.
nonsense. You have created that in him. He's nonsensical. He's
I have
hilarious.
a feeling that one day he could be a comedian.
Yeah, and he's artistic. He follows you in that way as well.
Yeah.
My eldest is quite like me. He's quite logical and quite, emotionally together, isn't he? Both amazing kids. But you've been their influence. Now, I would have missed that, Like, I got, when they were 7 and 9, you brought into their life. Evan just remembers having you as a dad all that time. You've been like a major part of their experience. And it is weird how I would have put that on the back burner if I'd gone with what society says is right,
Yeah.
It's a strange one. And then he asked me to marry me. Yeah, three. Do you want to know how it happened? Yes, of course you do. Of course you do. I can see. Oh yes, Emma. Let's all hear what happened.
It wasn't taking it at the top of the Empire State Building or throwing her out of a bloody plane.
No, that's the nice thing about me and Pete.
I'd already asked your dad though.
He'd been and seen my dad. You'd gone and got a ring, and you'd asked my dad, hadn't you?
Yeah.
He'd actually gone out. It's just a little solitaire. It's not an expensive solitaire. We didn't have any money, did we? Let's be honest.
It's actually a vintage.
Yeah, but
Isn't it?
yeah. So some dead person's ring, which is nice. That hopefully this is a dead person's ring with love. But it's only ever brought me luck. But the thing is that I one day was at home, and this is only a few months into our relationship, and I used to make him. I still make him his breakfast, but I used to make him scrambled eggs, or in this occasion I did you an omelette. I make a bloody good omelette, I'm going to tell you. I make a good omelette. And it was in this pan, and I wrote marry me on it, didn't I?
Yeah,
and I put it down in ketchup, marry me. And then I was carried on with it, and I turned around and he was on one knee with a ring. There you go. So we kind of both asked each other to marry each other.
We did.
Isn't it funny? There you go. Perfect synchronicity.
We did.
And since then, it's just been a ride, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a ride.
It's been a good ride, though.
It has. I've annoyed you.
You've annoyed me very rarely.
Yeah.
We've been very lucky.
We have been.
We have a lot more fun than we ever have negativity.
Dog's on the table. I have. It's brilliant being with you because you're very. I'm not so sure that Emma's from this planet, to be honest. She blinks sideways. But yeah, no, she's definitely a. I like this podcast. This is an episode of just of sort
So
of.
it's us episode.
Yeah, it's an us episode for people to get to know how we met. Yeah,
I know.
It's nice.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
important though.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to share our journeys with people because you can't really kind of know us unless you know how we met and what happened and how ordinary it was. That's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, just a really ordinary kind of meeting. Just one of those things. And that recognition of just taking a chance. And like for girls listening as well, for women listening, don't wait to be asked in life. That's another thing, you know. Like I have definitely learned that being confident about who you are, your sexuality, your body, your permission base that you share that body with, that you shouldn't be afraid. You know, you should be totally honoured that
Yeah.
you know yourself and you want whatever you want without any apology. And I think that we've grown up in a society where women are totally tortured if they, like, for example, I'm happy to say that, you know, I had hookups that always safe, always with people that were genuinely people in my life.
Oh,
who were
we've talked
decent.
about before about the sort of when you're an
Yeah.
adult, you know, you can sex is there to be enjoyed.
Yeah, but
as
I'm
long as you're
safely,
safe with it.
Yeah, safely and respectfully, and I'm always that.
Yeah.
But I think women feel afraid of saying that because it's almost like, well, God, you know, we're meant to be A, B, and C, and I really find that aggravating. But then, of course, that helps you when you have great sex with people that you see as friends with benefits. When you meet somebody that you're in love with, you fall in love with, it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's like that's mechanical, whereas this is emotional. And when you get the two together, oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? And it still is. You know, like, it really is. We
it
still
is.
have such an ace physical relationship, don't we? There you go, a little bit too much information. My brother always says when I talk like that, he has to go to his safe place in his brain.
You know, that's what a marriage is about. A good marriage is about.
Isn't
you know,
it?
and,
It's really good as well for self-esteem and feeling good about your body.
it's just like with those people as well that worry about, you know, if they get to a certain age and still haven't found somebody.
Yeah, don't.
You know, just don't. You know, you're probably sat there thinking, no, it's easy for you to say because you two have met.
But our lives were a car crash relationship-wise, weren't
yeah,
they?
we've been through the mill. You know,
Yeah, we have.
we've been through the mill,
And every single moment was worth it.
yes, it was to get here.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
they say, it's only ever, you know, the destination's the point where you are, but the journey is what makes it worthwhile. And we've definitely had that journey, haven't we?
Yeah, it's good.
And we are a great family, aren't we? You know, we have such fun.
Yeah.
And again, it's not bragging. What I'm saying is that if you told me this 7 years ago, I just
I wouldn't
wouldn't
have-
have
yeah,
bought into
no,
it. I would
I
have just thought, you're on crack.
We've done a lot since we met. It's,
know.
you know, we've got a chihuahua, which is
We've got a little animal
short-haired.
family.
Apparently
Yeah.
she's short-haired.
Which is getting long hair.
Yeah.
But the main thing is just to remember if you are listening and, you know, there is that person that you think's cute, it's far better to accept a rejection and take a risk.
Absolutely, doesn't matter how old
It
you are.
is.
You know,
Get those.
Yeah.
Just ask. You know,
Yeah.
don't wait on ceremony, because in the end, you'll just regret it.
yeah,
You know.
And you know-
I could have just like thought, oh, he's cute, and let him go. But
yeah. You know, look after yourself,
I'm a
take care of
vice
yourself,
grip.
get yourself in a position where you feel comfortable with yourself. If you're not feeling
Yeah.
comfortable with yourself, you know, make it, you know, make yourself stand out to that person, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like, you know, if you
definitely.
really, really want to be with somebody or you like somebody,
And don't be afraid of your emotions either. Don't be afraid of telling somebody that you really love them or that you're really falling for them or doing any of that. Because the truth is, when you meet somebody, and I think it's harder in this generation. I mean, we're not old at all, but I think I missed out on that whole Tinder generation. Like, I wasn't interested. You know, it existed. I just wasn't interested.
yeah, I've never been. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
I
not
like
for
the.
me.
I was more of the sort of put myself in the situation, or, yeah, sort of. I don't know. I always used to put myself in situations where I could meet a girl, you know.
But you were a DJ. It was easy for you to meet a
Yeah,
girl.
even before that, growing up, I'd had to start hanging around with them or try and be friends with them, or you know what
Yeah,
I mean. So I'd
yeah.
always set my standards high, really. Of
Then you got me.
I won the bloody jackpot
Drop
with
the
you.
ball.
No, not at all. Come on, you're the most sexiest girl I've ever been with. So
That's the thing, though, isn't it? It's subjective. That's the brilliant thing about relationships. Like, to some people, I'll just be like massively unattractive. A lot of people who get in touch with me on my social media to let me know that.
I wouldn't wipe my ass with you, Emma Kenny.
Yeah, I got called a cunt this week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that
Emma somebody.
Emma Rowe.
Emma Rowe.
Yeah.
Emma Rowe.
Emma Rowe from Cornwall. I
Emma
think
Rowe
it is.
from Cornwall, yeah. She told me
We've outed you, love. I mean,
quite
that
a
was very
lot
nasty.
of things.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Emma's
few
obviously
things.
got a few issues.
It was the,
Not all Emmas are nice,
Yeah.
as Emma Rowe from Cornwall has described.
Yeah. that the comments, I wouldn't wipe my ass with you, Emma Kenny.
I mean,
And then asking you, no, how did you break your nose? No, how did you? As if like,
Yeah.
you know, you broke your nose.
no,
like,
she said the rest of my face was the problem, not my broken nose.
I mean, you know, she didn't look like she worked or anything, did she? So, you know.
Well, that doesn't make somebody a bad person, Peter Smith.
No,
Let's
but
not
she
say
was
what we're doing
sat,
with these
she
like
was
kind
sat
of
like, you
things.
know, berating you about stuff. And it's
Well,
like, oh, come on, love, you know.
It's funny though, but it is subjective.
Yeah.
Attraction's
But she wouldn't wipe her
subjective.
ass with you.
I know.
You know
I'd
what? That would be amazing to see that.
know.
Somebody come in and pick you up
I'm
and
not sure which
wipe,
area.
you
My
know.
hair, I suppose. would be- But it's quite a. She'd have to have quite a wide bum.
You'd have to like massive hands, like Kenny Everett, Kenny Everett and a preacher. Hey.
Well, oh, anyway, today's been a nice introduction to the world of Pete and M, or Pemma,
Yeah.
as we've.
Pemma.
We hope you join us next week. It's been a tad indulgent for us today, but it's always nice to talk about a very precious time in our lives, which actually is really why this podcast exists.
Yeah,
because-
making sense of stuff, and it'd be nice to, you know, if anybody's got any comments of how they met or anything, you know, it'd be nice to
Yeah.
stick them down. You know, it's good to share.
This podcast could have just been me sat in a room just mumbling incoherently about various things that probably wouldn't have any meaning.
Yeah. Or we could have just done a podcast where we sat there going, "What can you hear? Yanni or Laurel or
Laurel.
Laurel or
You'd be in rehab.
yeah." Yeah. Is it a blue or is it gold? Is it a blue or a gold dress? Is it Yanni or
Have a
Laurel?
test.
Turns out that he actually recorded the word
Laurel. And on that note, we'll say goodbye. Join us next week. Thanks for joining Making Sense of It.
Take it easy.